Cornick from Paint and Porcelain here. I'm here to teach beginners how to get started in China painting and also try to encourage other, more experienced painters to paint along with us. But this is the final in a 3-part series on how to paint wild roses on a tea tile. Now, the last time we put our background on, and I also put on the edge that I have for my tiles. So you can see I finished the edge. This is one coat. Now, I looked at it, and when I first looked at it, I thought, well, I'm pretty happy with that. I'm just going to leave it. And you certainly can do that. I'm just showing you that if, in fact, you look at it and you decide you want things a little bit different, like I want the edge a little darker, I think I want a little more shadow in through here, that there are ways of doing that. And I'm just going to show you. But if you're happy with it the way it is at this stage, then leave it at this stage. There's nothing that says that you have to add more depth to it, or, you have to be happy with it. Okay, so I'm going to tilt you down, give you a chance to watch me as I add a few things that I think might help it. Okay, so here we have the piece, and what I'm going to try to do is give you an idea of some of the things you can do to make it look perhaps a little bit, have a little more depth. By the way, please subscribe, because if you do subscribe, it gives you an opportunity to see some of the other videos as they come on. I'll be doing more in the series of beginners. Plus, I have about 25 other videos that you can look at also on my page. Okay, I'm going into Copenhagen Blue, side loading only. And I'm going to start right here. You notice I have that overlapping flower. I think by just putting a little blue on there, I'm going to get a little more depth. Can you see how that does that? Now, you don't want it floating out there in the middle of nowhere, so you can pull some of it out this way, lightly. Okay. Then I'm going to take a little more of that blue, and I'm just going to go around underneath the flower. Now, in this case, you have to side load, but side load about half of your brush. So let me show you. You're going to have paint from about here to the edge. And I'm just going to go around and do underneath these petals there and here. Need a little more oil because it's dragging. We talk about that. If it starts to drag, add a little oil, not a lot. And if you feel that it's too oily, then pat it off. Don't let it get too oily. And then you're going to gently pull that out to blend it in with the background. And I think I'll put a little over in here too. Okay. I also want to bring some of these leaves underneath the flower a little more. So I side loaded with my blue, and I'm just doing the base of the leaves, kind of like we did last time, in the blue. But it's a little more pronounced blue now because you have one coat on, and so the second coat is really going to show up much better than it did before. I'm also going to put a little on this leaf here. Just think it needs a little more definition. Okay. I also want to put a little on this one here because it seems to be kind of lost out there, and this will kind of ground it. Alrighty. Now, I also, and I don't know if you can tell because of the light, but around the rim, I have almost like a white, and I don't really like that. I'm going to take a little blue here and put on the ends of these flowers, ends of these leaves, just to give them a little bit of pizzazz. And then I'm going to take it, I'm going to start at the base, and I'm going to use my Copenhagen, and I'm just going to go around This time I'm not going over my flowers if I can help it, or over my leaves, because I'm just adding the background in. And here I want this leaf to be under the other, so I will go over it. If you go over it with your background color, it will take that leaf and put it behind the other leaf. I think you can kind of see that. And then I'm just going to go around the edge here and add a little more depth. And this time I'm really going to make sure it comes up into, there's like a raised ridge here. And I want to make sure that the color comes up into the ridge. And we don't have any lapse of color on here. Okay. Now you could make this solid in here if you wanted. You could add more blue in there if you wanted. It's entirely up to you. I try to leave a few little open spaces so it's not so monotonous. And then over here, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to bring the blue right up to the edge. And you can see here too, I'm just going to add a little blue there and pull it right up to the edge. Now, if you recall, it was about this part here that we moved over to the baby blue. And in this case, I'm just going to take a little baby blue and just blend it into what's there. I like what's there, but I'm just blending it in so that this white that's here will disappear and have some color on it, because I've kind of left it uncolored and now it kind of sticks out, and I don't want that. So I'm just going around the edges. If this happened to you, this is a good way to deal with it. You can just take your blue, go around the edge, and add the color over the white that's there so that you don't see it, and blend it in. It kind of happened to me all the way around, so I'm going to kind of have to do it all the way around. You may, as I'm looking at it, want to add a little blue up in here just to give it a little more color. And again, you just pull out, pull back that little hatch stroke that we were using. And I think over on this side, I might like to add a little more blue. You don't see the blue quite as easily, and I thought this way I can do it. Make sure your strokes stay smooth. I'm going to go back to adding the blue around the edges, just very lightly, just wiping it. You don't want any streaks in it, but at the same time, you don't want it dark. You just want it to fill in wherever there's white. And I had some white here. So I'm just taking and brushing over the blue. Now you don't want a line, so you may want to, I have to get a little oil on my brush there. You may want to blend it up a little better. You know, put it on, look at it, see if you see a line. If you see a line, then you want to blend it in a little better. You don't want it to look, here, let me show you. You don't want it to look like this, where you have a real dark line there. You want to blend it. And all you do is just pull the paint out, get some off your brush, go back in and pull the paint out until you get it the depth you want it. And then pull it this way, pull it that way, a little of that feathering holding the end of this. Okay. Now the only other thing I'm going to do on this, well, I shouldn't say that. I just looked over here and I think I'd like to put a little more depth here. And maybe just a little bit underneath here. There. Now, if you think you've got too much depth on this particular one here, you can just wipe it off. You don't have to leave it on there if you don't like it. If you want a little on the end, you can put a little on the end. It's entirely up to you. If that's too heavy, just wipe it off. Okay, the last thing now that I'm going to do, besides sign my name, which I haven't done, I'm going to sign that on the back. I'm going to hold it out Really look at it. Make sure that there's no spot that I have that has a line. There's a little line there, so I got rid of that. I'm going to look at all my flowers. Do I like my flowers? Yes, I like my flowers. So this is what I have so far. So now the only thing I want to do is darken the edge. You may not want to darken your edge, and in fact, as I get it going, I may go, ooh, I don't know if I like it darker. But this is how I would darken the edge. Now, it's about the same as when you first put the first coat on, because since you have a first coat on there, it's going to go very, very easily for you. And I'm just going to paint around the outside, keeping it smooth, trying to be consistent with the color. You will find that you're going to have to hold it away from yourself and look at it when you get it all done. You may find that you have some inconsistencies. Some places may be lighter than others and you want to add a little more color to them. And it's a fairly easy full load. Just put it on. It's very easy. And you're just pulling the color off. And where you have these little ridges here and you go up against them, let me show you here. I'll put a little more paint on my brush. You see how they get kind of icky? You're going to go to the end of your brush and just pull it off. That's what you're going to do. We're going to use that feathering technique. You'll find you use it quite a bit. You can use this brush, you can use a smaller brush, but going around the edges, it's always nice to have a nice big brush. I used a number 10 for everything I did on this today. Okay. And I'm going to go over here, add my color. There we go. Add my color there. I know it's not very interesting to watch somebody go around a plate and add color, but you can blotch it like this. Take a little more and blotch it like that. And then just go through and smooth it. If that works for you, that's great. Sometimes that speeds up the process if you're really trying to get something done. And the other thing I'm going to caution you with is kind of look at the edge of the plate. I know people don't think about this, but look at the edge here. Run your finger around it if you need to get excess paint off, because you want to make sure that you're not like painting really jagged edges. Now, do I like this better than the original? I don't know. And you can decide. I honestly don't think I like it as well as the original, but it's the next step. If you wanted to take it to the next step, you could do the darker border or whatever color border you did. I'm holding it away, looking at it, and I can see up in here, it needs a little finessing. So I'm gonna just brush it a little, and down here it does. But I think I'm gonna keep it this way because I don't have any tea tiles that have the Copenhagen blue around them, but I'm pretty happy with that. So that's really all we have. If you want to finish your piece, go back, hold it in the light because I have light coming here, and really make sure that you've gotten rid of any white spots on it that are glaring, that don't look good. And if, for instance, you wanted to add a little bit more color up in here, you could use your blue. Sometimes the blue adds a depth of shadow that you didn't expect. And sometimes that's very pretty. So you could do that. And maybe even a little up here at the top on the one side there. You could do that. You don't have to though. So whatever you decide, wherever you decide to stop on this, I hope your project turns out well. Please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'd really appreciate it. And make sure to check the box below for information on how to get to my Paint and Porcelain website. It has supplies for you. It has hand-painted gifts if you're interested in that and you're not going to be painting and you're just watching this to see what China painting is all about. A lot of the things that I've painted on these series are on there for you to purchase. And it also has a whole series of studies. So as you get into China painting more, you can buy the studies. They're downloadable and printable. So you buy them and you pay for them, download them, and you have them and you can work from them. And they have the links, as do all of my studies, to both, if there was a Facebook Live, there's a link to that, and there's also a link to my YouTube channel. If it was a Facebook Live, you're going to get all the chit-chat that goes on between people. If it's the YouTube, there's none of that. It's just the instruction. And don't forget, this study is available free online for you to purchase. You go under Studies on Paint and Porcelain webpage, and you go through the purchase process as if you were buying it, but it will be free. It's downloadable only, so it will come immediately to your email. And if you have a computer, you can print it right out if you have a printer there, and you'll have it. It's best printed out on 96 bright white copy paper, but if you don't have it, you'll get the gist of it. Printing it out on a regular paper. If you don't have a computer, you can purchase the other studies and have them mailed to you. Unfortunately, this one is only downloadable. Okay, well, thank you very much for watching, and watch for other videos that are geared towards beginners. Thanks.